Hello there and welcome to our Greenlite EMV webinar. My name is Matthew Shattuck and I am the Creative Services Director with the Wittern Group. Thank you so much for being a Greenlite customer. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for taking some time to learn more about the new EMV requirements. Be sure to stick around to the end of the presentation when we will open it up for a Q&A session with our experts. Use the Q&A feature on your screen to send in your questions. Our presenters today are Ben Hoffman from VenNet and Greenlite, as well as Bunny Proof from Cantaloupe. Ben manages our parts, operations, and various other projects under the VenNet umbrella. Ms. Proof is part of the Cantaloupe team. She directs and manages sales development, as well as small and medium business sales teams. Our agenda today is packed with what we believe will be most useful and necessary for our customers to learn about EMV requirements. And most importantly, we'll have a Q&A time at the end to answer your specific questions. Thanks again for joining us. And without any further ado, here's Bunny from Cantaloupe to explain what is EMV.
So what is EMV? EMV stands for these three letters: E for Europay, M for MasterCard, V for Visa. EMV is a standard of security that was devised in Europe. That's why Europay is involved. Back in 2014, 2015, that secured the means of accepting electronic payments through tap or contactless means. That EMV standard does increase consumer financial data by using tokenization, or basically taking that card data and securing it with 12 layers of encryption in the contactless credit card system. An EMV transaction actually transmits card data in that little chip that you see on the card itself, just like magnetic strips would, except that it involves 12 layers of encryption called tokenization. So effectively what's happening when you tap your card or when you tap your Apple Pay and or Google Pay wallet, it's taking that data, that credit card number and some other bits of data to secure that it's a real card that's being presented to the payment terminal, and it encrypts it in a form that can be transmitted and not copied. So it makes your system more secure. So what makes EMV more secure? As I mentioned before, 12 layers of tokenization or 12 layers of encryption apply to this EMV standard. The EMV code actually is a unique code that is not non-identifiable with the credit card itself while it's being transmitted. It keeps it safe and away from anybody who would hack the system. So compared to mag strips, where we all know that there are mag strip readers out there, somebody can just take that right off of your mag strip at any time. This actually confirms that the card somebody is using has that key encryption in it, and the card number data matches the card holder.
So the benefits of EMV are both for the consumer and for you. So this is a sales point. When you're securing a location or when you are updating your current reader to an EMV compliant one, you can tell them that you are updating to the most secure and most compliant card reader in the business, that you are being preemptive and on the forefront. And as Bunny mentioned, when we talk about fraud, most of that fraud is someone stealing your credit card number and making another card with it, and that's from using that swipe. But with EMV, it's extremely difficult to counterfeit the chip, as you mentioned, with those 12 layers. So this is a reassurance to you and to the bank that you are as compliant as possible when taking their transactions. This is also going to reduce chargeback, and it puts the liability on the bank. For the consumer, then, they can feel safe knowing that their card information is not being stolen or taken while using one of your card readers.
That's right, Ben. From an operator standpoint, when you guys are selling to a location, it will be important to you to convey to that location that your EMV standard are the highest levels of encryption possible. And it's the encryption from the point of swipe all the way to the point when you receive a deposit in your bank account. So that encryption holds true for you, and it is a selling point to get the location.
Thanks, Bunny. So how does EMV apply to unattended retail? So partly due to COVID, digital payments have skyrocketed. But even before COVID, Cantaloupe initiated this really cool study. And it was a study of 160,000 devices out of about 1 million plus to see some information on unattended EMV from unattended retail. And what we see is that it's doubled in size. And we expect that to continue to grow with about another 2 million in projected EMV sales by the end of this year.
Absolutely. It also speaks to the demographics that you're selling to out there, your customers and your locations. A lot of consumers are now adopting mobile wallets and adopting contactless payment as ease of use. We're stepping away a bit from the COVID, but now consumers are realizing it's just easier to use EMV tap or easier to use a mobile wallet. So what's happening with new EMV requirements? The card processors are imposing fees on merchants that are not accepting non-EMV contactless payments. That means those who are accepting mag strip swipe or tapping that are not EMV secured, they're imposing fines. However, that is not on you as an operator. Right now, operators will not be responsible for any EMV fines from any card processors due to these compliance changes. What we will simply do as of December 21st, Greenlite will turn off tap payments on non-EMV readers, so to avert those fines. Cantaloupe will remove tap functionality on effective devices as well to keep them in operation. So you could still, consumers will still be able to swipe. They just won't be able to tap their card and use that contactless feature if you haven't upgraded before December 1st. With these new EMV requirements, swipe payments will continue to function. Your information, your cash and cashless sales will continue to be transmitted through the system. So telemetry will continue to be provided. All Seed software and Seed Cashless Plus software compatibility will continue. The only affected portion of as of December 1st will be credit and debit card tap payment acceptance will not be accepted after December 1st, unless you have upgraded your devices to EMV readers. So some of the frequently asked questions we have from our customers: do your devices need to accept chip cards to avoid impact? Your devices should be able to accept chip cards to avoid impact, but it's a financial impact. We are going to be shutting off acceptance of tap at non-EMV readers. So there are going to be a minimal amount of transactions that will be affected for consumers who only have tap function with their card, but we'll make sure that swipes are accepted at your readers if you haven't upgraded by then. Will your non-EMV devices be turned off starting December 1st? Your devices will not be turned off. Your non-EMV tap capability will be turned off if your device is not upgraded by December 1st. So it's simply the tap functionality that will have to be shut off until you can upgrade. But your devices will still continue to function. Cash and cashless swipe transactions will still post through, as will your telemetry data and your Seed information data. What will happen after November 30th if a consumer attempts to tap? After November 30th, if a consumer attempts to tap, they'll attempt to tap and the card swipe will say, please swipe the card. Will I receive fines for not upgrading my non-EMV devices? No. You will not receive fines for not upgrading your non-EMV devices. The only penalty, and I won't even say it's a penalty, is that you will have some consumers who will be a little confused sometimes. They'll try and tap, it won't work, and they'll have to swipe. If somebody uses Apple Pay, though, exclusively, or Google Pay exclusively, and they tap, they're not going to be able to swipe their phone, right? So there may be a slight reduction in revenue. So that's something that you'll want to look out for in your reporting. You won't receive fines. However, you will see reduced functionality.
If your cashless reader looks like this, you will be affected. So if you have that orange box, you are not EMV compatible. And if you're not EMV compatible, here's what we need to do to prepare for those changes. So one, identify that you're not, as you see from the picture, yep, I have this orange box, I am not compliant. The next question is, do you want to upgrade? And this is what our recommendation is from some of the information we've given before on the studies, the contactless payments, the security. Let's make sure we get you EMV compliant. And if you decide this is what you want to do, then you're going to reach out to us. You're either going to call the number listed below, 515-271-8404, or send us an email at info@greenlightvending.com, and we're going to provide that further information to get the process started of getting you a different reader. And here's what that is. This is our ePort cashless kit. So as you see, it's kind of like before, you have a reader itself and you have that telemeter on the inside. What you're going to be able to get with that, it's EMV compliant. You have all the security. You're going to be able, the customers are going to be able to swipe. It's going to accept the mobile wallet. You're going to be able to do the tap payment. So it's going to give you all of those features that our consumers are wanting to use these days.
Absolutely. The ePort cashless kit is a champion in the field. It is the only POS terminal in the industry, the vending industry, that supports encryption from swipe to deposit in your bank account. So that's something to keep in mind. This is a major upgrade to your business that you can convey to your customers. Well, this is the coolest program that we've had in a very long time. And I'm so excited to have Greenlight as a partner offering this program. This program works well for small SMB customers, or small medium business customers just like you. It involves zero upfront costs, fixed, predictable, bundled fees, reduced risk of hardware network obsolescence. What that means is, it means, for instance, let's say in 10 years from now, the 4G network, or 3 years from now, the 4G network, Verizon decides they're going to change everything up all over again, you're protected. Or what if cashless payment processors or Visa decides to change the standards? You're protected. This program is not only a great program for you to use, it takes some of this worry of equipment away from you. Now, there's an unlimited warranty during the time of the agreement, which is wonderful. The 36-month commit with machine-to-machine or renewable options is available, and flexible options to bundle in additional services. So if you decide to opt in with other mechanisms of software, so if you're going to be using some of the other features that Greenlight provides, then that is definitely optional as well. It's a great package. It is PCI compliant and certified, and PCI compliant throughout as a service provider.
Yeah, great explanation, Bunny. Just a couple of those points I want to add to is on that reduced risk of the obsolescence. As we've seen over the past couple of years, some things change, and some of those changes are entirely out of the hands of us. They're entirely out of the hands of Cantaloupe, but we have to adapt to them. And that goes with maybe as Bunny mentioned, something down the line happening to 4G with this happening with EMV, and let's just get rid of any of that fear that you might have. So if you're saying, I don't know if I want to upgrade to EMV because what if something changes again soon? Am I going to have to change again? Let's just get rid of that. Let's go to this plan. We'll be able to upgrade. You're not going to lose anything from that. So Bunny and I have provided a whole bunch of information to you today, and we're going to be answering some questions in a little bit, but where can you go to learn some more information on your own time? We do have on our site, greenlightvending.com /EMV upgrades, even more information and some other frequently asked questions that you can see some answers to there and follow up with us on if you still have anything after that.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Bunny. We appreciate the presentation. Great job. Now we are going to transition into our time of question and answer. Ben and Bunny will be combing through the questions that we see coming in. So we'll give you guys some time to ask your questions using the Q&A button. You can type in your questions for Ben and Bunny, and they will be answering them here soon. We will be making this recording available, so be on the lookout for the full recording. We will send that out later this week. So yeah, we appreciate your participation in this webinar, and I'm going to hand things over to Ben Hoffman right now, who is going to kick off the question and answers. Ben.
Thanks, Matt, and welcome everyone. Thank you for attending and learning some more information on EMV. And thank you all for participating. We have some really good questions right now that have been coming in our Q&A box. I'm scanning through some of them. We have some similar questions. One of the first ones that we're getting a few things on is on your contract. So just a couple of points on that. If you're under that rental contract right now, you're correct. You would be ending that current contract and starting a new one. And that goes to that last slide we were showing on that new Cantaloupe One program. And if you're in that purchased plan, you would be starting a new one-year contract on that. And I'll turn it over to Bunny to take on the next question.
Sure. Hi, everyone. One of you asked, is it easy to install? Yes, ePorts were designed to be easy to install. They are plug and play. The card swipe fits in the knockout that you currently have on your machine. And with any vending machines, they use MDB compatibility. There is a plug that you basically will plug into where your bill validator currently plugs in. There's a pigtail cable on that plug that you will plug into you'll plug your bill validator into that pigtail. The card swipe simply installs in the knockout, and there's a flange plate that goes behind it inside the machine. It is designed to be plug and play, and there are lots of helpful videos we'll be able to provide you for viewing somebody doing the install, as well as there's I believe a QR code available to scan in your packaging that will give you step-by-step installation instructions. Ben, do you have any other questions you'd like to cover?
I do. Thanks for that, Bunny. And let me add a couple things to that. As Bunny mentioned, there's videos available on this. If you're a little hesitant on the video, one of the other services we offer, and by the way, we use our website, VinNetUSA.com, kind of as a home base to get to anywhere else or to find any information you need on anything from VinNet. We have the ability to schedule appointments now. So if you want to work through that installation with one of our technicians, just to have someone kind of watch or help you on that, start at VinNetUSA.com and you'll be able to schedule that appointment. And if you're saying, you know what, watching the video is probably not going to work for me, walking through it with the tech, this just isn't my strong suit, I'd rather have someone come out and do it. Is that a possibility? We can always schedule a technician to come out and do that for you as well. So whatever skill set, whatever you're comfortable doing, we have an option for you for doing the actual swap of the hardware if you decide to upgrade. A couple of the questions are on the pricing, if the pricing is affected. So if you don't upgrade, your pricing is going to stay the same. If you decide to upgrade, there will be a little pricing change, and I'm actually going to use this as a teaser if you're thinking about upgrading. If you look at that paperwork, those pricings, those are in section 7 of the paperwork. So look at that paperwork for the upgrade, go to section 7 and see what that new pricing is there. Bunny, you see any other questions?
Someone did ask if cash acceptance is a separate issue, and it is. Bill validators are kind of separate beings from credit cards readers and debit card readers. So cash acceptance is based on your bill validator and being able to accept your cash at the machine. So that is a separate issue entirely. I don't see too many others here. Let me see. Oh, there we go. There are some questions. So the cutoff date is December 1st is the cutoff date. October, we are lucky and in that Visa has extended the EMV compliance deadline for all of us. So the cutoff date, the new cutoff date is December 1st is the corrected date. So if you have any questions on that, please let us know. However, it is always best to start working on or considering upgrading as soon as possible so that you have that peace of mind and your consumers have a peace of mind as well. Remember, our consumers today are becoming more and more savvy as far as EMV compliance and not. So the sooner you can upgrade, the better for your business. Ben, do you see any other questions?
I'm scrolling through. I appreciate all the questions. I'm trying to see if there's any kind of category of questions we haven't reached yet.
There is a question here about a $5 hold. That is a pre-authorization. I can answer what that is. A pre-authorization usually happens when a consumer uses a debit card. A debit card works differently than a credit card in the credit card processing world. A debit card actually is tapping somebody's checking account effectively, or their actual funds. So what happens is a pre-authorization. So a hold has to happen on the consumer's bank account, and that hold is placed there actually by the consumer's bank. It usually can last anywhere from 24 to 72 hours, depending on the cardholder's bank policies. Normally that pre-authorization hold will remain on the account for, I see, mostly 24 hours, but it will be either it'll drop off or it will be replaced by the actual transaction itself. But it is entirely, that length of time is dependent on the hold. It's dependent on the policy of the cardholder's bank.
And do we have any final questions we want to get to before we wrap up?
Bunny, I have a question that might be for you. There's a little bit on here on reports and reporting and logging in. And so on that, if you don't upgrade, your reports are going to stay the same. You're going to see all the same information for logging in and using that. If you do decide to upgrade, there could be some changes to that, and the reporting options are going to be based on the features and the plans that you go with. Bunny, do we have a breakdown created of what some of those features and reports look like based on those plans?
I don't have that at my fingertips right now, but I could certainly find that information out. So we'll call out that question. We'll answer your person as soon as we can.
Perfect. Thanks, Bunny.
I see that somebody has asked, will this require an antenna and how it would be installed? All of the devices do come with an antenna. The antenna is magnetic in nature, so it can be placed inside the machine, or it's going to be stuck to metal, obviously. They're usually better when they're outside of the machine. They usually will, most vending machines are made of stainless steel, so they will tend to block signal a little bit. It's always better if you could get the antenna outside the machine for a stronger signal strength. But yes, the antenna is magnetic in nature.
Thanks, Bunny. And I do see there's a question on here. I'm not sure when it was sent in on how do you know if you need to upgrade? And that's going to go back to the slide, Matt. I don't know if you're able to backtrack to the image there. If not, that's okay. But if you have that orange box, you are not EMV compliant. So the upgrade is your choice. But if you currently have that orange box set up, you would want to upgrade if you're thinking about changing to EMV.
Correct. And to kind of piggyback on the antenna discussion I had a little bit back there, ePorts do have 2 antennas. There's a reason for this. This is very cool, actually. The antenna should be placed more than 6 inches apart. They're both magnetic. The reason why for more than 6 inches apart, rather than having one point of reception, you are creating a field between the 2 antennas. So it is actually one giant field of reception between the 2. That's why we've had really great reception with ePorts, with the ePort G10 and G11 series, is because of those 2 antennas that we call them the diversity antennas that actually make that signal just a little bit more recognizable to the cellular networks.
Awesome. Terrific. Thank you so much, Ben and Bunny. The audience is giving you a standing ovation. I can hear them right now. Please feel free to reach out to us via phone or via email that you see on your screen. Our team will be sticking around a little bit longer to answer the questions that were sent in, and look out for responses as we are able to get to those. So yeah, we thank you so much for your time and learning more about EMV. Thanks again.